All righty. We're back again. This is Galactic Musician. We have our special guest, which is our co-founder of this adventure. We're going to try to show off different musicians in the local area, as well as we're open to any musician that wants to come through. If we have some famous people come through, we'll treat them just the same.
That's right. That's right. They're just musicians.
They're just musicians. Okay, well, today's guest is over here, Keith.
Hey, John.
Yeah, he's been in the band business for about how long, you think?
Playing in bands, 40 years.
40 years, yeah.
I guess,
All right.
So long I can't remember. How's that?
Yeah, what was it that got you started in music, and what inspired you to get started first in the music business?
My dad played trombone, and I guess he played in World War II in the officer clubs in Okinawa, and they had bands, during the big war. And he played trombone and clarinet. And so every now and then at home, he'd get his trombone out when we had company over, and he'd get it out and he'd play Stardust on it and stuff like that, and I thought, that's pretty cool. So I tried playing it when I was a kid, but, my lips were not big enough to fill that big mouthpiece on a trombone. So I had an aunt and uncle that owned a music store in another town.
Nice.
It was called Honolulu Music Conservatory. It was a Honolulu Conservatory of Music. I guess that's what it was. It's my Aunt Dean and Uncle Abe owned that. So I went over there and I took piano lessons for a while. And, you have a feel for an instrument or something like that. I guess piano was not my instrument.
Well, I started out on it too. But
yeah, I had a lovely instructor. Her name was Fred, and I can't pronounce her name. It's Frederica. Something like, but it's German, so that'd be more Spanish but it's like Frederica, but in the German version of it. And she was fantastic, really fantastic. But she said, you're not a piano player,
Yeah, she starts you off reading music too.
Oh yeah, reading, sight reading and everything, and didn't stay with me. Use it or lose it, right?
Yeah.
So then I got a bass guitar. And I had a Hofner knockoff with a Jordan amp, and that's pretty cool. And my aunt, who taught bass and guitar and everything else, she told me I had to be able to stretch my hands to do 4 frets, and do 4 frets like this. And I'm like, between your pointer and your baby finger, and I was like, I can't do this, man. And those strings were big and heavy.
Yeah.
So eventually I got a 6-string guitar.
Oh.
And I said, this works.
Okay.
This works. I can play Cross Stills Nash, Paul Simon, Bob Dylan. I can play at parties and all the girls. You're high school, junior high.
Right.
There's a priority list.
Yeah, no, I went from no girlfriend at all to the head cheerleader.
Yeah, right. Isn't it what Joe
Just by
Walsh,
playing guitar.
Yeah, wasn't Joe Walsh said he played trumpet until he figured out, you can't sing and talk to girls while you're playing trumpet. So he picked up a guitar.
All right.
So that's kind of what got me into music, And then my buddy Gary, he lived next door, and he was Gary Snell. He was a fabulous guitar player. I mean, just instinctual. He could hear something and figure it out on the guitar. And it was like, wow. So I was never like that, but I could sing.
Yeah, and that's gotten you through a lot with the bands. And having a good singer in a band is a very critical thing,
It's a lead instrument,
and
it's the person who tells the story.
Yeah.
I mean, every song's about a story.
And everybody's watching them.
Yeah, you're out front, that's for sure.
When you got started in music, you were lived somewhere else. You didn't live in Tallahassee, did you?
Oh, God, no. I was born in Western North Carolina, played there with my cousins and stuff like that. More bluegrass than anything else. And then we moved from there to Ohio to Michigan and really got into it in Michigan, high school. And then I went back to North Carolina to Chapel Hill to go to college. And there I kind of played in coffee houses and stuff like that, on campus, sitting in the student union building, playing guitar and, and trying to meet people. And then went from there back to Detroit again. And that's where I kind of really got into bands, because now I was just making money and all the spare time was mine. Yeah. It's like prior to that, all your spare time is somebody else has got it planned for you, right?
Right.
Well, then I got married and had kids, so
Then there was another plan.
somebody else was planning.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it worked out for you. You have like 2 children?
Yeah, I got 2 kids, Dane and Christina. Christina lives in Germany right now. She's 35, and Dane is getting ready to move from Tallahassee to, let's see if I can get this right, Fort Myers area in southern Florida. He's 31, so he's off on a big adventure now.
Yeah.
But I got to say, I'm proud of him. You know, he finished his master's degree here at Florida State, got his MBA, I think, with a focus on real estate.
Okay.
So,
well, it's good business down there right now.
I guess so. I have nothing but best wishes for him. You know, for good luck. You know, he's on his own.
Do either one of them play music or anything?
Oh God, you know, Christina, I bought her a set of drums when she was a little kid. She wanted that. I bought her a clarinet. She wanted that, and I just never really stuck with her. I don't think she likes music.
Yeah.
Dane, on the other hand, can sight read 10 instruments. I mean, he plays 4 saxophones, flute. It's gonna be French horn, oboe, bassoon, bass guitar, 6-string guitar. And I'm sure I'm leaving some instrument out, but I mean, you know, it's like he was in high school, maybe it's college. He was in college, and the instructor, you know, band teacher said, "Oh, we need a bassoon for this part of the symphony," you know, and you know, Dane says, "Can I take one home for the weekend?"
Yeah, try it out.
I'll come back and I'll play that part.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he's really, really talented.
Yeah.
You know, I'll talk about something. He goes, "No, Dad, that's a B7 suspended." You know, and he put his fingers all like this. You know.
Yeah. So he knows all about chord theory.
Yeah, it's scary. He was about 11 or 12 years old, and we were down in southern Florida. I said, "So what do you want for your birthday?" He says, "I want the score to the latest Dream Theater album." And I said, "Whoa, okay." So I went to the store and we bought the score for the Dream Theater album. It's about that thick.
Oh yeah, I've seen those before.
Yeah, it's about that thick. And Dream Theater, if you know, they're a progressive metal band, probably the biggest in the world. I mean, you got 3 guys. 3 of them are from Berkeley School of Music outside Boston, and the 4th guy, he's the slack. He's from Juilliard. You know.
Well, there was like one time when I was in this band, and we got some guys from FSU, because FSU kind of draws a lot of people to their music school. It's pretty well known.
Right.
Well, this guy came in and he played Beatles music. I thought, okay, great. I'd like to play Beatles music. So he started showing me some of his recordings, and he bought, you know, the score for a Beatles song, and he reproduced it. But before he told me all that stuff, he played this Beatles song, and it sounded like sounded like the Beatles, and it almost sounded better than the Beatles doing a Beatles song. But because he worked at it, but he was doing some old recordings with new technology, and it kind of, you know, improved it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Beatles were great. I mean, they were creative. They created all this sound.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're always going to be able to go to a music school and find somebody that plays an instrument better than you do.
Yeah.
Or sings better than you, or whatever. But the difference is the Beatles were putting it out there.
Right.
You know, they spent 10 years in the bars in Germany. I guess is that where the cave is? You know.
Yeah.
You know, playing bars and stuff. So by the time they made it, you know, this overnight sensation. No, I don't think so.
No, they were playing every night. It sounded like, and they all stayed in a very cramped area, and you know, they were living very poor.
Yeah.
So they worked very hard.
Yeah, they put it out there though. They earned paid their dues.
They built up that energy so that whenever they went and did live performances, they had a big energy going.
Yeah, I mean, they created all this pop sound and all these songs and these chord progressions that nobody was using.
Oh that was really something about them, because most American music all had the same progressions with chords, but they came in with all these different kind of different mixing of chords,
right,
which created a different kind of sound too.
So they had a lot of courage. They had a lot of guts. They created music. They created new sounds. And most people are cover bands. You know, I mean, and very few cover bands achieve really a great height.
Yeah,
and you can probably count them on one hand that we know of. You know, Elvis never wrote a song. played covers, and Linda Ronstadt, and both of them are the king and queen,
Right.
So,
Well, I was one time I went to see. I was going to see the Loving Spoonful. They came to town and they were going to play. So somehow one of my band members found out
Sebastian, yeah.
where they were staying at. So we went there, and I was sitting talking with John Sebastian.
Wow.
And I was talking with him, and I had been writing a few little songs or something, but he said if you can't write new material and come up with new stuff all the time, you'll just die off, and you won't make it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
like I said, there's only a couple. How many people that don't write that you can remember throughout history?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Barbra Streisand, Linda Ronstadt. There's people like that do other people's music, but most of the big ones, they write their own stuff.
well, you've been in your first band. When did you get started with your first band?
My first band that I was actually in, that I was a member of the band, was called River City.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it was in Mount Clemens, Michigan. And I was very, very fortunate. My cousins owned a music store, so they knew all the people in town. They knew all the musicians.
Like these guys here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. And in fact, my cousin is in the blue shirt over my left shoulder there.
Okay.
And my cousin Bill. Bill's no longer with us. He was a great guy. He played all the country songs. He could play all the chicken picking and all the country bend notes. And he also did all the Joe Cocker songs.
Well, about what year was this?
God, 80s, early 80s, early 80s. God, I wish I really could remember, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, because that's an ovation you got there. Isn't it?
That's a country legend cutaway.
Okay.
It is a big bowl. It's like dancing with a pregnant woman.
Right.
And my cousin Bill there, he was a fantastic guy. He passed away about 10 years ago now of throat cancer up in Detroit. Over his shoulder in the back was Jerry, our bass player, and behind me, the drummer, Chris Anderson. He's still down in Miami, and he comes to Tallahassee every now and then, and I keep threatening to hook up with him. Chris is a great, solid pocket drummer. I mean,
Yes.
pocket rock. He's just like a machine gun. It's bam, bam. And of course that was Gary Weiskirk. We used to always call him Wisecrack. He's always telling jokes. And that was his band, River City Band. I was very fortunate. He let me sit in. As you can see there, Wisecrack.
It looks like kind of a wise guy there.
Well, he's a funny guy, and that was his band, and everybody knew River City in that part of the town.
That's an interesting guitar he's got there. Then.
Just outside of Detroit, Mount Clemens.
Mount Clemens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what he was playing. He's maybe he had some kind of Franken guitars,
It looks
even like Bill's. I think his was a Franken Telly. My cousin Skip in Charleston has that guitar, and it's has a lot of memories playing with Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, River City Band. That was I wish I could remember that. This is. After I left River City, a bunch of us got together and created a band called Avery Taylor Band.
Okay.
And I was trying to expand my musical, genre of stuff I could play. So I decided to get together with some other musicians. My cousin Bill, right down in front, he's still with me in this band. To his left is Professor Fweebop, Dave Jasmine. He had a music major degree from Oakland University, I think, in bass upright performance. But he was our piano player in this band because he loved playing piano.
Okay.
Of course, I'm there next to him. Right behind him with long black hair and mustache is Smokin' Mel Kerner. We call him Smokin' Mel because he just rip that guitar apart. Smoking Mel. To his on his left shoulder is Don Kerner, and Don's still playing. Both of them are still playing in Detroit in various bands, and Don's a great bass player. They're both a couple of great musicians and nice people.
Yeah.
Nice people. It's very fortunate. Everybody that I've played with for the most part have been nice people, which is, I won't say it's unusual, but when you find that, you're lucky and stay with it,
Yeah.
And then Rick Mites was our drummer. He's on the far right-hand side screen there with glasses. Rick Mites, great jazz drummer. He had a real soft touch, just tasty drummer.
So what kind of music all were you playing back then?
God, Probably like Chicago blues, a little country. It's probably the same stuff I play now.
Yeah.
Same stuff I like. You know, I mean, I like Chicago blues. I like country rock.
Yeah.
I like folk rock, like Southern rock. So I haven't really changed much in my taste in music in all these years. I mean, the only thing, and I haven't changed in this way either, but when I'm sitting down playing by myself, I still play the old Paul Simon and Bob Dylan stuff, you know, Carl Stills Nash. Some of the stuff, I love that song by, actually Keith Whitley wrote it, but Alison Krauss put on a map. It's called When You Say Nothing at All. Just love that song, you know. So that's the stuff I play when I'm sitting with a guitar out on the patio or with people, you know. They say, play something. Well, I'll play that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm usually with an acoustic guitar when I'm just sitting around playing something.
Yeah, because, you know, in order to play Chicago blues or, you know, some real high-energy blues stuff, you got to have a band. Yeah. You know, there's no way around it, you know. And you know, being in a band is it's a luxury. I mean, even Paul McCartney said that. He said to be in a band is a luxury. It doesn't matter how much money you got, but to be in a band.
Yeah.
And that's not being in a studio with a bunch of paid musicians.
Right.
That's being in a setting where you guys have been playing together, you've been practicing together, you're kind of friends and stuff, you know.
You definitely
family.
Yeah, it goes from friend to family pretty much like that. And everybody gets to know everything about each other. And, I mean, you can imagine like when the Beatles were doing all their tours, you know, they were just around each other all the time. And
imagine the stories they could actually tell about each other.
I want to hear some of those. How about these guys here?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, I'm a faithful and loyal band member. I mean, I really, you know, it's like relationships. I don't want to jump from one thing to the next. I find the right people and I stay with them.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, that's important to know you can count on people. Yeah. This is Avery Taylor. He had some change in lineup in here. We got on the left is Don Kerner, and next to him is his brother Mel. I'm in the middle with the Texas rock, Texas blues outfit.
All right.
Yeah, and to my left is Jerry. I can't remember Jerry's last name, but he was a organ major at Wayne State University. Yeah, so we were real happy to have him because he started playing piano and organ and things like this. I mean, that's what he did. Guy knew, and not only was he good technically, but he was good at just soloing. You know, he could put the music from his ear into his fingers.
So he could improv.
Yeah. And then next to him was Dale. I want to say Dale Inman. Dale Inman, drummer, solid rock drummer. Eventually lost him because he wanted to play White Snake songs, and I wasn't into that.
Okay.
These are the same guys. See, it's Jerry, our piano organ player, and myself, Smoke and Mel Kerner.
So Jerry was the only one with any training and, you know, schooling.
Yeah, in this group for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, he was a schooled musician, you know, which is good in a way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's good in a way.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you got a heart for music, you know, it's like how many people that have made it at the top and recording stuff like they were really schooled musicians.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have brought the schooled musicians into the studio to do the recording, but the guys who created the music, the guys on the road, they play by ear usually, you know. So these are the same guys. This is Mount Clemens, Michigan on the Clinton River. And it's snowing, as you can tell. It's in the wintertime. There's a gazebo out there by the river. And from the left, that's Smoke and Mel Kerner, Jerry, again, Dale Inman, myself. Apparently, I don't wear coats.
Yeah.
And Don Kerner's sneaking around.
You were the only one kind of dressed. It's kind of like the Beatles, how they used to have their uniform, you know?
Yeah.
Back when I was doing, we all got the same shirts and things like that.
Yeah, well, I kind of felt I thought it was important, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a time when people all wanted to wear blue jeans and T-shirts, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm good with that too, but I think when you're out, you're putting on a show, you know, people are coming, they're paying to see you. You got to play good music, and you got to have a little visual stuff going on too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't be all about the music. Very few people can be all about the music.
Well,
you know, we're entertainers. Let's face it. At the end of the day,
you have to be. You know, you can't be like, you know, Lady Gaga or anything like that.
No, I'm not going to get out there and dance like whoever some of these people.
How about this? It's kind of moving up a little bit
This is
more.
where I came to Tallahassee. I was living in southern Florida. That guy that's sitting down is Kent Rodriguez. And Kent is a great, great guitar player. Lives here in Tallahassee. He was on the road, I guess, for many years. So he's a real talented musician. And I was very fortunate. I played 2 or 3 gigs with him. This was down on St. All Street, whatever that is. You know where the something Aphrodisiac Lounge or whatever it is down on All Saints Street.
Oh, yeah.
The old Coca-Cola bottling plant's down there. The original Coca-Cola
one,
plant. Yeah. And so there was a opening night for the Heritage and Culture Institute or Museum or something like this.
All right, so you probably played a lot of different events that people have, and they need some music there to.
Oh yeah,
get
that's
things
what
going.
this was all about. You know,
Yeah.
we were background. You know, we elevator.
Elevators. Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Right.
we were not the stars of the show,
Right.
but Kent was good enough to be the star of the show. He was great. And he really pushed me. You know, I would never have learned that song Black Water by Doobie Brothers if it hadn't been for Kent.
Yeah.
He wanted to play that song, and, you know, I wasn't too sure about it. And we never did play it with him. But after we went our separate ways, I sat down and learned it.
Yeah, I think we jammed on it one time.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here.
we jammed on it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that thing is played in a D-modal, you know, which
Yeah.
these are things I didn't even know about at the time. You know, I'm looking
yeah.
at those guys and go, where are they getting that sound? You know, doom, doom, da. You know, I'm sitting there going, how does that work? And so I started researching it, and I found out what D-modal tuning was, and Stephen Stills, and who's the crazy horse guy? Neil Young. All these guys use D, drop D. Well, there's drop D, and then there's D-modal, where you drop both these to D, you know?
Page and the Led Zeppelin did that a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Especially when he did his acoustic work.
yeah, yeah.
But I used to do that, and I had about a book that I'd written about maybe like 30 different kinds of tunings. Mm-hmm. And it got very to where I had to tune the guitar every time, you know, and it just didn't work on stage.
Well,
You had to have
that's
a bunch
why
of
you have
guitars.
several guitars.
Yeah, and I didn't have the money for that back in the college days.
Yeah, people say, you know, why do you have all these guitars? And I go, because they're all tuned differently. That's why. I mean, if I'm going to play, I'm trying to think of these songs, these Neil Young songs that are really big. Cinnamon Girl,
Yeah.
or what's the one? Doom, da, da, something in Dancing in the Moon, Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon. Yeah.
Those are all in D-modal,
Right.
you know. So you got to have the guitar sitting there so you can grab it. And now I do some songs that are in open G.
Yeah.
And if you want to play them right, some Doobie Brothers tunes, you got to tune the guitar and you got to be able to grab it. And
Right.
you can't sit there on stage and say, excuse me while I tune my guitar.
Right. I mean, it just doesn't sound right if you don't have it in that tuning.
No,
that they
well, it
did
doesn't
in.
sound right. You know,
Yeah.
it sounds like, well, okay, we can play that song. Let's
You
fake
can
it.
refinger it and do it and play like you're in a modal with standard tuning.
But it doesn't
just
sound right.
not the same thing.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
What about this right here? This looks like your backyard, I think. Here.
My backyard. Oh, you know, that was before we painted the barn.
Yeah.
Actually, that is our backyard, and Susan and I had built these raised gardens and stuff, and this must have been spring because stuff's just starting to come up.
Yeah.
And I wasn't playing with anybody, and I said, I'm just going to do some solo stuff. And so I shot this to be the cover of a CD.
Oh.
And
Did you ever make
I had
that?
I had imposed some graphics on the side of the barn and a graphic on each side of the doors.
Uh-huh.
And in the one side said same face, and the other side of the door said different sides. And it was a little play on words, you know, and graphics, and you know, so people know me for playing high energy blues, you know, Chicago blues and stuff like that. But at the same token, this whole CD was all mellow stuff. You know, what's her name? I hate names drop out of my mind real quick, but she did the Clouds Illusions, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're both drawing blanks on
Oh,
there.
yeah. Senior moments here.
Yeah, but she had a song that I absolutely loved, and I put that she did a song called The Circle Game, and I just love that song, you know.
I'm sure everybody listening to this, I know who it is.
Oh yeah, they're all gonna go, oh yeah, her,
Why
you
didn't
know.
I think of that?
And the only thing is, I'm Mitchell, Joni Mitchell. I'm drawing such a blank on that, you know. And I went back and started watching some documentaries on her the other day. And because I really wasn't into that vein of music, that genre at one point, I really didn't know much about her. And now I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I watched a thing on Crosby. It was a documentary on him.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about her and the California gang they were all in. And
everybody lived on the up in the hills above the town. You know, Mama Cass, Elliott.
He was saying, Joni's got a new song. She came in, everybody wanted to be quiet and listen to her play her new song.
Yeah.
And it was her breakup song with him.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, she was with what's his name, Graham Nash for a while too, wasn't she?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was the 70s.
They talked about
or
her,
60s.
you know, her writing ability and her, you know, the song she did, and it's incredible.
Yeah, but you know, the interesting thing, like for instance, she wrote Woodstock. Wasn't there. She talked to the guys on the phone because they had flown in by helicopter and done the gig. And she watched on TV, and by the time they got back to California, she had this song written. And if you listen to her version of Woodstock, and then you listen to what Stephen Stills did it, and you're like, how do you get from A to W?
Yeah, it's completely different. I think they even changed the lyrics some.
Yeah, no, I know I'm sure they did. Yeah, because it didn't fit. The timing didn't fit.
Yeah,
didn't fit them. You know, if you listen to her, sometimes these artists will write songs for themselves and they'll put 1,000 words into like 3 beats.
Yeah,
and you can't do that, you know. So I'm sure Stills changed a few things so the timing was better to fit the meter, you know.
Yeah. Well, what's this group here? It looks like you got another group going.
Yeah. You know, this the guy kneeling down, Dave Bussey. He was the meat manager at Publix up on Old Bainbridge Road, and a great guy, giant guy too.
Yeah, he looks
like a big guy.
It's like he was photoshopped in there, bigger than everybody else.
No, he's just a big guy. But he was a really, really nice guy, and he's still floating around Tallahassee. But I haven't talked to him in a long time. I don't know how I got together with these guys, to tell you the truth. But Dave Bussey played drums. The guy over his left shoulder with the hat, his name is Gary, and I can't remember his last name. Begins with an L. Lauda. And I was talking to the current drummer in the band, Howard Rich, and he says, I saw this picture of you and Gary, and he said, is that Gary Lauda? And I said, well, I don't know his last name. I don't remember. I said, but he said, yeah. He says, you know, he passed away. And I go, no, really? I mean, we're too young to be hearing about people passing away at our age. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the guy died in a car accident. And then those other 2 people there, the guy right behind Dave to my left, I cannot for the life of me remember his name, and I am going to dig it out. Yeah. But he was a great bass player, but he had young children and everything, so the band didn't stay together too long because he had family responsibilities. But he was a meteorologist, worked for the U.S. government on the Florida State campus. Huh. I guess NOAA has an office there, and he and a couple other meteorologists work there, and they would take all the signals in from the Tampa airport and from Tallahassee airport, and they maintained weather.gov. Huh. Isn't that interesting?
That is.
And I did not know this, but that's where everybody gets their information from. Weather.com goes and sucks it off weather.gov, you know?
Yeah, you'd be surprised stuff that's out at FSU. There was one time when I was working out there, and I'd go take photographs of the research and stuff, and they had this special huge machine, and it was a big round thing, and it simulated global weather.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's like out of a sci-fi movie.
And they did all these testing, and it was so that, because after World War II, they realized weather was a very important issue.
Air cover.
And when you're trying to do stuff,
you
need
air support.
It was a Navy thing, research thing that they had.
Wow.
But
that's pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We got this.
This was done. We were playing some big party out in. It's between Havana. It's just east of Havana. Anyways, it was out on 200 acres, and they brought a big flatbed trailer out in the middle of the field, and ran all these drop cores, and they had a couple generators, and that was the band with Gary and Dave. And
Wow, I've
never
never
bass player.
played running on generators before. That's a new one.
You got to have good filters, and so you don't
yeah.
need spikes in the power, I guess.
Yeah, you put your mouth up to the mic and get a shocking experience.
Yeah, you're there. You drive a rod in the ground and tie a ground wire to it.
Right. Yeah, this looks like a little.
This is the first version of my current band, and I had met 2 or 3 guys, and this is the same event. What they did is they blocked off Bruno Avenue in Tallahassee, and they put a flatbed trailer. They brought it out, and the city of Tallahassee ran the sound, I'm pretty sure. And we played, and it was a fundraiser for for a youth organization. And then there's a little church down there that does a lot of halfway house kind of stuff, helping people get straight in life.
Yeah.
And it's still there, the church, and it was right there in that intersection. They pulled a flatbed across, and we'd perform for about 2 hours.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun. And that was the first version of KTB, Keith Taylor Band. And after this last band broke up, and I forgot what they were called now, with Gary and Dave Bussey and everything. I decided I didn't want to tell anybody from going forward in life who I'd played with. People say, "Oh, who you play with?" And I said, "I'm over that," because I can name all these bands I played with. And I said, "You know what? I'm just going to name the band after myself." If somebody quits,
well, I think it's worked for you pretty good.
Yeah, somebody quits, I'll try to find somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, because you put a lot of energy into marketing and developing.
Yeah.
And and people know who you are. So you hate to throw all that right out the window. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So, nowadays, it's like we're on a third version of KTB, and it was the Keith Taylor Band. And we had some people that had just came to different stages of their lives and had other things they needed to do. So we replaced them and kept going.
Yeah.
And so now when I go back out to market, it's the same logo, it's the same name and everything.
Well, you're pretty much, the primary singer, so you're that front person, and you're pretty much, organize the guys and keep it together.
Yeah.
So, and that's a lot of work to do all of that.
It's you would not believe what it is. And actually I kind of have a hard time sometimes believing, because I was in bands before where everybody else did it.
Yeah.
And actually, the second version of KTB, Dylan Forbes was really our musical director, and he did all that stuff. And I was very happy to let him do that, because he took a keen interest in it. He took songs apart, he detailed out all the different parts and would conduct, if you will, during practice, and did a great job. But when he came to a point in life where he had some stuff he had to do, actually he's moving to North Carolina for retirement. I had to take over that spot.
Yeah.
And I really did not know, what it takes. Because, you always want to be the nice guy and everything. And you can be the nice guy, but sometimes you got to kind of be the jerk and say, I'm sorry, we can't play that song, or, I'm sorry, it's got to be, the meter's got to be this, and then, some people, a drummer or somebody will come out of the chute a little too fast, and I say, whoa, bring it down, and explain to them, because to me, music is about texture and color, right?
Right. Well,
it's emotions.
But you're making those decisions based on the best way to have the band be presented.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It has nothing to do with me. It's all about the song.
Right, and how you're presenting it for the audience.
Yeah. Your vision of what this song ought to be.
Right. When you're practicing or you're with the band practicing, that's all a whole different thing when you get in front of a group of people, because you're really there for them. And not for yourselves.
But it's the same thing in a band, when you're in this rehearsal studio, somebody's got to be conducting, somebody's got to be, directing traffic, and, saying who's going to do what. I try to be very not diplomatic, but democratic.
I think you are. Yeah.
I take everybody's allowed to speak and say what they want.
It's you got to have a diplomatic approach to it, but at the same time you got to hold it together.
Well, everybody needs to feel that their opinion matters.
Right.
So we're very open, You can say anything you want anytime. I'm not going to take it personal. But at the end of the day, sometimes decisions have to be made.
Right.
And I could be the good guy or the bad guy. I don't know.
Well, this looks like another version of your band.
This is KTB number 2.
Number 2.
On the bass guitar, we've got Chip Michael and in KTB1, we had Dan Engel was playing bass with us, and Chip. What an interesting story, the way I met him, boy. We were down at the original Coca-Cola plant, down on St. All's Street, and we were down there to watch a steel drum band. And Susan, my better half, it was one of the friends of her kids in high school, and she had a steel drum band. And she was in town from New Orleans, because that's where they live now, and they were performing down there that night. So Susan and I said, well, let's go down there and give them a little support, So we went down there, and most of the tables were wet except for the one we were at. And these two people came over and asked if they could sit on the other side of the picnic table. I said, sure, and sit down. And Susan started talking to the guy across from her. And she bumped my elbow and she said, hey, he plays bass guitar, And I said, well, a lot of people play bass guitar.
Yeah.
and they kept talking and stuff. And we found out they were playing at the American Legion the next night. So I said, well, let's go see them, Now, unbeknownst to us, this is where you and I first met.
Right.
But we didn't really meet officially.
No,
we were not
officially.
introduced. Yeah. So we went to the American Legion, and I saw Chip playing the band, and apparently that was your band.
Yeah, that was my band. And we were going through some different times and things. Everybody was, like you say, people's personal life can get into stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We kind of traded bass players for a while, I guess.
Yeah, you got Dan and I got Chip.
Right. So, but Chip was one of the original members of Easy Street Blues Band.
Yeah.
So,
Now, see, I never connected him with that name.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to put that in my memory.
Yeah, he was a member of it.
Yeah, Chip's great. We have a great music relationship. We have a great personal relationship. He's just a very easy person to get along with, and he's always going to do what he feels or what you talk to him about what's best for the music.
Right.
I mean, he's just really focused on that. So this is my favorite bass. I won't say in the world, but it's definitely my favorite bass that he's got. And this is a Reverend bass, and it's the white one too.
Yeah.
It's not the other color. This bass to me sounds like a bass. Now everybody's got different opinions on that.
Right.
Some guys have fuzz boxes on their bass and slap bass and everything, but I just like the upright double bass sound.
Yeah, well,
and that's what this guitar sounds like.
And Chip got me into Reverend. I actually have two of them myself, two Reverend guitars.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There.
He has like 3 basses of his collection. He must have. I have no idea how many he has, but let's say
scary. I don't.
Let's say there's not enough room.
I think
in
he
my
has
house.
2 houses. He has another house for all of his bases.
Right. So, but he's got this white Reverend, and he's got, of course, he's got a P bass.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a Lakeland bass, handmade bass. And those 3 to me are just bass guitars. So this KTB2 was Chip Michael on bass. And then back there on the drums is Randy Williams. Randy came to us through Dylan, and I'll tell you a story about that. Dylan had come to us through Craigslist. I mean, believe it or not.
So you got a guitar player through Craigslist?
Yeah. We were. I was playing with Dan Engel and a drummer, and the other drummer was leaving, and we needed to replace him, and so Dylan said, "I've heard of this drummer through church." And I said, okay, well, bring him over and we'll just check him out. So he brought him over and we did a little audition, and Randy was just fantastic. I mean, he had a really solid pocket, really solid meter, and that was what was really important. So he turned out to be a great drummer to keep that steady meter. And it turned out that he had sang for a number of years in a barbershop quartet. And he had has great harmony.
Oh, yeah. I really impressed with him and his vocal work.
Oh, I know. He just say, you find your note.
He's backing you
I'll
up
find
twice
mine.
with a good beat going, keeping the nice drumming going, and then good vocals right behind
Yeah, how
you.
many people can sing and play drums? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not easy,
There are
and
a
it's
few,
do
but not
harmony.
very. Yeah.
And he does harmony, you
Right.
know. So he's a great drummer, and I was really sorry to lose him, but he had some things in life, that pressing. He's got some girls that are getting older now, and it's time for Dad to spend time with them,
Yeah.
And it happens. It happens.
Yeah. Well, so Dylan
Dylan Forbes, he is a great
great
guitar player.
Yeah, and he does vocals pretty good too with you.
Oh yeah. We have a we have a good relationship with our vocals, but he goes a lot higher than I do. So, and he's a monster guitar player. I mean, when you talk about playing like Southern rock, or some blues, he's going to be hard to touch.
Yeah,
he's really going to be hard to touch.
I like the Allman Brothers stuff he does.
Oh yeah, his slide.
Really good.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a really versatile player.
Right.
So I was real sorry to lose him too. But again, he's retiring shortly and moving to North Carolina. They're building a house up there.
Yeah.
And that kind of became the focal point of his life. Yeah, we had some good times together, as you can tell. We had a lot of fun playing, and we had a nice mixture. He played the electric, whether it was his Tele or his Les Paul or his Strat, and I think he finally got a PRS, beautiful PRS. And I pretty much played the acoustic guitar, you know, for the most part, because we had a nice blend, electric and acoustic. And for what we were doing, we were focusing a lot on kind of Southern rock or country rock and things like this. So it was a nice blend of instruments.
Yeah.
And between Dylan and Randy and myself, we had 3-part harmony on almost every song.
Oh, yeah. That really helped a lot, the vocal work on.
Yeah, I miss that a lot, you know. But things happen, things change. Well, I miss those guys. I think they're great players and they're great friends. They've moved on in life, and I'm with some guys right now that are really, really sharp.
Yeah.
And what they've done, this new group of guys have allowed me to expand the music I play. You know, I could never have imagined playing Joe Cocker, any of the Joe Cocker stuff with any other previous bands that I've had.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't have the instrumentation. You know, now we've got organ, keyboards,
keyboards in there,
saxophone.
Really yeah,
that's huge. You know, a piano just opens everything up.
Well, let's take a look at them.
Yeah, KTB3.
Second, I guess this is your third band that you put together.
This is a third version of KTB. Really, I mean, in its final form, it's the third version, and really fortunate the people I'm playing with right now. I tell you, when the KTB version 2 kind of everybody decided to go their own ways for the most part, you know, I said, what am I going to do? You know, and Chip said, well, I'm going to stay. And I said, great. Okay, great. I know I got a solid bass player now. So now we just got to start, building it up again. And, when you're down and out or whatever, and it looks dark, all of a sudden there's daylight,
It just comes about.
It's unbelievable. I've got some really good people around me too. That's really important. First person we found, of course, Chip stayed with me.
Yeah.
The first person we found was Howard Rich. Back on the drums back there, and Howard is a great drummer. He's born and raised in Miami, so he's got a real tasty swing beat feel. Great drummer, and good on cues. I mean, the guy watches me. I mean, that just blows my mind. I can raise a hand or I can make a movement, and he's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, so critical when you're playing live.
Right.
And it also helps you to learn songs a lot faster, when people are paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
Which is, in essence, what I'm saying he's doing. He's paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, I notice how he really pays a lot of attention to where Chip's at.
Oh, yeah.
They're very tight, having a bass and drums together. It's...
He told me something or introduced a concept to me that I'd never heard before. And he said it's called chasing the bass. And I grew up that, the drummer laid down the meter, that was just it. He says, well, yeah, but the bass is a lot louder than you are.
Yeah. That's usually the case. But sometimes the drummers can outdo, but the bass player can just turn up the volume up, and there you go.
So I'd never heard that concept before, chasing the bass. So so that was new. No, and Howard's he's a great person and he's a great musician. So it's a winning combination. He's really, really helpful. Makes great suggestions. Puts his 2 cents in on songs. Like I said, we try to keep an open format when we're in practice room. It's democracy. Right. Everybody feels open and free to be able to say what they want. And he brings a lot of good ideas to the table.
Yeah.
This was a gig we did at the lake at night. That was fun. This is my friend from California, Bill Landing. Bill is a great saxophone player. I'm telling you. I mean, when we're looking at how we're going to do solos and stuff, you know, you look at the lead guitar, lead guitar is a high energy instrument, you know?
Yeah.
So you always think, well, if you want some high energy right now, you're going to throw a lead guitar in. Well, I'm telling you right now, saxophone.
Yeah.
You want some energy.
You can't take it to another level.
Just let him loose.
Yeah.
Bill's a fantastic guy. You know, he's a retired professor of marine chemistry from Florida State University. I mean, yeah, in fact, the first 3 months of this year, when COVID had us all kind of shut down, Bill was down in the Antarctic drilling ice.
Yeah, I think he told me about how he played sax on every continent or something like that.
Yeah, he's played saxophone on every continent on the planet. Wow. You know, he's got a picture. He sent me a picture of him down on the ice with a saxophone in Antarctica.
Did he have gloves on?
Oh, yeah, he had everything on.
I guess so.
He said he could only be down there for like 2 or 3 minutes because the sax and everything just freeze up. It was so cold, you know. So he'd go down there, put in his coat, and get down there on the ice and pull it out and play.
God. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's from like the Silicon Valley area, and he told me when he was a young guy they used to watch Jay Leno and stuff, you know, coming in and out of all the stores, you know, where he grew up. So, and how he got here, I asked him one time how he got to Florida. I think it was just looking for jobs. You know, Florida State University offered him a job teaching, and there's a research possibility, so he came here.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's Dr. Bill Landing, and great guy. Thoroughly enjoy. He and his wife both. You know, really nice people. Yeah. This is the newest member of the band. This is Eric Luoma. It takes me so long to remember names, you know, but Luoma.
That's a tongue twister there.
Yeah. And it's funny thing is, when you look at his name, it's pronounced phonetically. You just look at it, it's spelled. It's Luoma, L-U-O-M-A, Luoma. You know, but I can't tell you how long it took me to be able to say that.
Yeah.
Anyways, great guitar player. Howard brought him to the group. He was going to the Thursday night jams over at the barbecue place at Tallahassee Mall. Dreamland Barbecue.
Oh, yeah, I went to that several times.
Yeah, and Eric was going there, and Howard had seen him there, and he says, hey, I think this is a guy that can fit into the band, and because we're an ensemble. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's 6 pieces, so you've got to have enough self-restraint to know when to be quiet and when to play. Yeah. And you've got to have enough ear to know what kind of sound you ought to be playing in this particular song. And so we brought Eric in. We auditioned him a couple of times, and he just seemed real eager to learn.
Oh, yeah. When I first saw him, I watched him play with y'all several times, and I've noticed the blending in that he's doing. He was very, you know, like anybody would be when you first get to play with some guys, because you're not in tune with them like they're in tune with themselves over the period of time. But he seemed to, the last time I saw y'all play out at the golf club place.
Oh, Southwood.
He was, sounded really good. And he was starting to really blend really well with y'all.
Coming into his own. You know, when we first started playing with us, I had to like, you know, tell him, hit your boost pedal, you know, kick up the volume.
Right.
And because he was, you know, kind of shy, you know, about being new at the band and stuff like that. And I said, no, when it's your turn to solo, hit that boost pedal and kick it up. Yeah. I said, you know, it's your job. When it's your turn to solo, it's your job to grab them by the throat and shake them. Right. You know, and so don't be shy, you know. But the difference is, when it's not your turn to solo, turn it off.
Right. Come down. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring it back. You know? Right. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people have a hard time doing. They don't mind playing loud. Right. They have a hard time playing soft.
Right. That's there are a lot of guitar players that have that issue.
And I don't know if it's something to do with their treble hearing goes, because you know, if you stand in front of a guitar amp for any period of time, your treble hearing starts to go, and that's why you start watching them turn the volume up and stuff. Right. You know, but if you can keep an overall controlled volume, people don't have that problem.
Right. I know one guitar player. The whole band was getting quite concerned because he got louder and louder, and eventually he went and had his hearing tested.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. He was an '80s rocker, so he did the rough stuff, and his ears probably got some damage done to him.
Yeah. So this another thing this group has really got going is dynamics. You know, and because, like I said, you got 6 instruments. You know, you've got to learn to take your time and in your place. This is another shot of Eric here. He likes that telly, I tell you. You know, maybe the telly just fits in better with what we do because it's thin. You know,
Well,
it can be thick.
If you look at the pictures, there's a telly in almost all those bands you've been with there.
Yeah. You know, country.
Yeah.
You know, country rock.
Well, it's a very versatile guitar.
It can, and if you have the right pickups in it, you know, and the right switching, you can get a meaty sound if you need it. You know, this is the man from New York. This is Don Gormley, and Don came to us again through Howard, and he's great. I mean, he really is. He's a great piano player, a great organ player, and if you look behind him there, he's got a box full of harmonicas.
Oh yeah.
Well, mouth organ, hey, you know.
He can really do a nice blues harp there. I was really impressed with that the other night. And, you know, it's one of those players where, you know, he's really great on the keyboards there, but then all of a sudden there's another instrument there. And
harmonica, you're like, wow, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
The same guy.
Yeah, same guy doing that.
I would never have, and I've always liked Joe Cocker, but I could never have played Joe Cocker without him.
Yeah.
You know, he gets all those rhythms going on the piano and stuff. And he's from New York. And, of course, he does harmony background vocals.
Right. Yeah. That's great. He's... you know, a big asset to you because you never had a keyboard before player, I don't think, did you?
No. I haven't had a piano player in, 30 years probably. You know, he's a great asset, and I'm really pleased to have him. And he's from New York, you know. I lived in southern Florida for 10 years, I guess. And, you know, everybody down there's from New York, right?
Pretty much.
on the East Coast, you know, everybody's from New York.
On the West Coast down there around Naples and all, it's a lot of Europeans there.
Well, that and Midwest. You know, a lot of Michigan, Wisconsin people go down on the Gulf side, but on the Atlantic, Fort Lauderdale, you know, Miami, it's all New Yorkers. And so when I met him, I'm like, well, I understand you completely. I've been living with people from New York for the last 10 years.
And you still got Chip with
Chip
you.
on bass. Yeah, Chip Michael. He's a treasure, I'm telling you. He works hard on the bass. You know, he listens to the music and figures out where he needs to be in it.
Right.
And that's huge.
Yeah, and he'll let you know when you're not there.
Stop.
Yeah, but, you know, he's really smooth, and he does have a pretty good ear, which is really nice because if you come and play something that he's never played, he'll concentrate and pay really good attention to what you're doing and follow it. And he plays guitar enough to where he knows what's going on with the guitar.
Yeah, he can pick the melody out, you know,
so
something he's never even done before.
Right.
You know, these guys will walk in and say, let's jam on this. And he's like, okay, you know.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Well, it looks like you're doing a vocal piece here.
Yeah, who knows what we were playing. This is in our studio out in Lake Ammonia. And we were learning something, and sometimes it just gets loud in there, you know. I think that's why I got my hand in my ear. Yeah, we have it's a great facility out there, and we're just absolutely blessed to have that. I mean, not a lot of people have a place where, you know, we've got a studio set of drums, studio bass amps, you know, so we don't have to move anything.
And you can do whatever volume you want because you're not bothering anybody.
There ain't nobody to bother except the gators, you know.
Maybe a bear, possibly.
Well, it could be. You know, I was out in took the mule one time for a ride, Chip and I and Don, and we just went up through the woods. You know, there's some tracks up there that you can drive through. And we're coming up a hill, and I'm telling you, about 30 yards up there, I saw a big cat.
Oh.
I mean, a big cat. When I'm saying big cat, I mean the back of the cat had to go, 2.5, 3 feet to the back of him. So you know he was big, and if he looked big at a distance, so imagine how big he'd be up close.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't want to do that.
No, just hit the horn, honk honk.
Yeah. Generally, they like to get away from you.
Yeah, they don't want to see you. So, but still, it's an eye opener.
Yeah. Well, it was great talking with you.
Hey, I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me in here.
Yeah,
you know?
I think, our Galactic Musician, we're getting it started off the ground. We're going to get a lot of people come in here. I've got quite a few people I've talked to and been setting up photographs. And So we have a lot of interesting people come through that have been in bands that you were in and I was in.
Yeah, people we know.
And we'll definitely have a good showing coming up pretty soon. So
Yeah, I mean these things are important because I mean people see you play, and they come up and they say, "That was great, that sounded great," and everything. I think I appreciate it, because there's a lot of hard work goes into it. I mean, you just don't go out and play a song out of the blue, I mean, rarely, unless it's some kind of old standard, that everybody knows. Johnny Be Good. I think we can all probably play that and sing it, But it's a lot of hard work. Yeah, Wipe Out. There's a lot of hard work goes into putting together a good show.
Yeah.
So it means a lot when people come up and say they enjoyed it,
Right.
And I'm glad to do something like this where I can answer questions. We should do a live stream one of these days.
Yeah, that'd be interesting at an actual event.
Well, I mean, and people ask questions.
It's really good now that things are starting to loosen up with this virus issue. It really threw a wrench in the works for
everybody.
Everybody knows restaurants, but let me tell you, musicians, it hurt them really bad.
We were getting ready to play Springtime Tallahassee. I'm trying to think if that was 2019 or 2020. I guess it was 2020.
2020, yeah.
Springtime Tallahassee 2020. And this Saturday we're going to be playing Springtime Tallahassee again.
A year later.
Well, it's May. So, and it was March originally in 2020.
Okay,
so it's a year, 14 months.
Wow.
That's a long time.
It is.
It's a long time.
Yeah, and from what I'm seeing, everybody's really excited about being able to get back out again and play.
When you're a musician, you get enjoyment from playing the songs, from doing it and playing it well. But there's that certain energy boost that just, when you start getting that feedback from the audience, from the people, there's definitely an energy that's going on.
Right.
And you feel it. I mean, if it can be good or bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's bad, you go, okay, we better change to another song. But if it's good, it's like, it just takes the whole song and lifts it up.
Right.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, usually you've experienced band players like you have. The only people that really notice that something's not doing too well is usually the band.
Yeah.
The audience usually can't figure that out unless there's another player out there and they can see what's going on. They're having lots of fun right now.
Yeah, I know. You do a song and you go, and people say, that was great. And it really, technically speaking, it was great, But, you run into a musician afterwards and they said, oh, man, I heard that. I'm like, oh, really?
It's really strange. It's like even writing songs, when some of the songs I wrote that I didn't think were any that good and stuff, those are the ones people like. I'm going like, what is this? I like this one over here.
Well, you got a unique talent, and that's writing songs. Yeah. I'm telling you. I mean, that's a gift. I've tried it. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And I realize that it's probably like anything else. You gotta work at it. Practice makes better.
Yeah, it's a Zen thing or whatever. You just kind of have to get your mind freed up, and then you get to where you have a feeling. Then you kind of start. For me, I start with a rhythm. And this is something that we need to kind of get into, do a show one time on writing music. And
I like that idea.
So
I could learn a lot from it. I just know that you got to put your nose to the grindstone and do it.
And there's a whole complication thing about writing songs, and sometimes it takes years to get that one song done, and sometimes it's done in really quick. It's really weird because some of the most complicated songs I did were done with really fast. All right, well, great. I'm glad we got this one put together. I'll edit it up and we'll have us a new show.
All right, thanks, John. I appreciate it, buddy.
Okay, have a good